Welcome to the Dingo podcast, one of the first episodes we are recording. I'm joined today, this evening, with Dasha, who's
Hey.
based in based in Poland, in Warsaw. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
You originally submitted your film Suitcase to the Dingo Film Fest, which was shown a few weeks ago now, which got a really great, fantastic reception. Yeah, this is such an incredible story. So I've been really keen to sort of talk to you again and sort of reconnect. So let's start from the very beginning. Tell us a bit about yourself and where you've come from.
Yes, so my name is Dasha. I'm originally from Belarus, from Minsk. And Belarus is a country in Eastern Europe, and it's very famous because we're the last dictatorship in Europe. And when I was living there, so in 2020, we had a big protest, one of the biggest protests in the country. And I was very active during that time. I was going to the protest, I was protesting and things like this. But then I also felt that as an artist, I should make something because the art is my tool, and usually like protest art can have a great influence on people's mind. So I decided to try that as well. And I've made a film, and it was a very arty film. So of course it was based on the events that was happening in the country. But honestly saying, I didn't think that this film would get me in trouble, like this film specifically, because it was like very artsy. It is kind of very obvious what it is about, but I didn't have a thought that the riot police or the government could actually get it. So it was a surprise on my side. And originally, I just wanted to make this one film, and that's it. But the next day after the shooting, the producer of the film was arrested. They came to her apartment and detained her, and they also took her laptop, her like all of the devices. And of course, she didn't have time to clean it because she didn't expect. So basically, we finished shooting maybe at 2 a.m. and at 7 a.m. They took her basically. So yeah, of course, they found all the information that was connected to the film. They found the presentation, they found the script, they found like backstage photos and videos and things like this. And they were like, when I talked to her after that, like when she was released already, she said that they got pretty mad because they were like, we used some actors who were wearing masks, like the riot police. And I was also in one of the videos, and I was like making fun of them basically. So I did everything in my power to get in trouble there.
Well done.
Yeah. But the thing is that luckily for us, she was with her. I mean, it's every time when I say I was lucky or something like this in this particular situation, it sounds very weird, but she was with her friend. So her friend called us and said that they found everything they needed and we probably should do something because there is a big chance that all the other part of the team will be arrested. And again, I was trying to do everything right. I tried to clean my chats during this whole protest thing. I tried to be very careful, and I thought I was doing pretty well until this situation happened. Because after that happened, I understood that they have presentation that has my name and my face on it, that they had all the common chats that was about this film with my face, like in a jokey way, like I was on this profile picture of this chat dressing as the like the main protest painting in the country. So yeah, I was everywhere in this presentation, and like yeah. So yeah, she said that like her friend said that we probably should do something, and I came to the editor. I took all the files from him so I can have the only copy, and then it was actually like a movie operation, actually, because then I went to the city center. I stopped a random person. I asked if I can call my friend from his phone. And I called my friend that I don't have any connection on the social media. So we just like, we follow each other on Instagram, but we don't have like photos or chats or whatever. And I called her and I said, okay, I can't explain what it is about, but I need to see you like right now. And we've met in a random shop, again in the city center. And I gave her this flash drive with the materials. And I said, like very dramatically, that if I don't call you tomorrow, I'm in jail. To just like have this thing, because this is the movie Files, and when I'm released, like in a couple of years, we'll be famous. But yeah, like I just gave her this flash drive, and I was like, yeah, so just like don't contact me. If I contact you, then we will meet. If not, just like keep it safe somewhere, you know. And then I came to my parents' friend's house just in case if they come to my house to arrest me. And yeah, I basically, by that time I had this like famous suitcase with this things that I mentioned in the film. I just took it because I thought, okay, if they don't arrest me today, I will try to leave the country tomorrow. And they didn't arrest me, and I decided to leave the country. So yeah, I already had my suitcase. Then I again did the same operation that I just stopped a random person to call my friend. I already kind of throw away my SIM card, like my Belarusian one, so I didn't have the connection, just in case, you know, because I didn't know what to do to begin with. I didn't know how serious the situation was. I just like tried to do everything in my power not to get into more trouble. And then I came to her. I took this flash drive because I thought, okay, if I manage to leave the country, at least I will have the film. Yeah, so I took the flash drive, and then my parents drove me to the airport. They were pretty sure that I will be arrested in the airport. So we were just like having this wonderful small talk for 2 hours when they were like instructing me not to fight the police officers.
God, your parents would have been so worried.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very stressful situation for us because we also like we didn't know what to expect. You know, like when you leave, when you do these things, you kind of think that this is how it could happen. Like you always have this thought that it's very random. You know, you can do a lot of things and not end up in jail, or you can do one thing and you go to jail, or you just don't do anything and they can arrest you. You know, you live in the atmosphere when you just know that something bad could happen, but you not like at that point I didn't actually believe that something like this could happen, because there were a lot of hope during that time. You know, you were like, actually you thought that you were like in some kind of a movie, and even if people got arrested, you didn't take it like, you take it seriously, but somehow you think, okay, this is just, you knew that bad things happening to these people, but you were like, okay, just like hold on there, like everything will be all right, like we will just like everything will be fine in the end, you know, this kind of mood. And when it's like happening in the real time, I think my parents also didn't understand fully what was going on, because like they were like, okay, just like don't fight the police officers when they arrest you, and we will just like find the lawyer and everything like will be fine. Just like don't, yeah, they just like they somehow thought that I will be just like fighting people, which probably true.
I was going to say, has that happened before?
No, I mean, like I probably have the energy of the person who will fight. I don't know. And they were like, please don't. Just like do whatever in your power. Just don't do that. Don't do stupid shit. Yeah, because I'm very famous for doing stupid shit.
You finished at 2 a.m. By 7 a.m. they seemed to know, and they'd already sort of. How do you think that was possible?
Actually, you know what? This is just one of those super strange coincidences that happened, because they came not because of the film. They came because they spotted her in one of the protests.
Oh, so I see. Okay, coincidence.
Yeah, and they just came and they found all the materials and they were like,
were they impressed?
Yeah, I mean, I believe like,
filmically it looked fantastic.
Work impressed those people, you know. Yeah, but the thing is that, yeah, because like, you know, before we started making this film, we kind of, okay, now we're not going to protest because we don't want to be arrested before we make the film, you know. So we were like super careful for 2 weeks maybe, like before the shooting. And then this is what I'm talking about. This is very random, you know. You think that you did everything right, And then something like, because like, just like the timing, they just chose the perfect timing to go for like some of the team, because like we were like, everyone who was in this film, we were all doing things that was like illegal for the government in the country, and we were thinking that, okay, we just can't be arrested for the things we already did before we make the movie, and they just like, in this particular day, they decided that, okay, this is the perfect time to go and arrest one of those weirdos that were like doing the things. Because like we all knew kind of that we are probably on the list somewhere, but we just never thought that we're like that important for them to go like right now. We were like pretty, we felt pretty safe. We thought that, okay, there are like a lot of people who are like more important and who did more things, so they will probably go for them before us. This was our logic. We were like, we didn't go to the protest mostly because we thought that we could be arrested in, like during the protest, because, you never know how fast you run. So yeah, we didn't like, it didn't even cross our mind that something like this could happen, to be honest. Yeah. So
well, what's happened to the film? That's the next big question.
So I decided to leave the country. And at that point, we still had planes going on from Belarus to Europe, because now we don't. Just before the film, one of the team members, they said that I should apply for this humanitarian visa just in case, because I did a lot of things, so I can have it in my passport. And I was like, I don't need it. Like, because like at that point, it was so rare, like this kind of visas that Poland was giving to Belarusians. And I was like, there are a lot of people who need it more. Like, I don't want even like to have this in my passport, because, just if I apply, I already kind of agree that something bad could happen. But then everyone just like said like, no, please just do it. I mean, like, it costs nothing. And you like already have the list of things why they can actually give you the visa. So I even went to another city in Belarus. I went to Brest, because I'm from Minsk, and my father drove me like for 6 hours in the night. So I can just leave my passport there so they can give me the visa. And it happened like even before the film, before the shooting. And in the day when this producer was arrested, my passport came back with the visa.
Wow. So literally the day of.
Yeah, the same day. And and it also was my birthday. It was like 28th of November. And I remember in this day, I remember my main question was, which is also very stupid, like how your brain works, like you think that, okay, everything is very bad. But the only question that I have, it was like, should I wear a corset or not? Because if I get arrested, it will be uncomfortable to be in jail in a corset. But at the
important questions.
Yeah, exactly. But it was like, but at the same time, it's my birthday. I want to wear a corset.
Did you wear a corset?
Yeah, I ended up, I was like, what, fuck that shit. I was like, if you go down, like.
Looking stylish, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's not, in the end, it wasn't the question of comfort, it was the question of style. So yeah. But yeah, I decided that I can leave the country. So we are there at that point when I have this flash drive with the materials. And I went to the airport. And again, it was during the COVID times. So everything was even more strict. And of course, they asked me why I'm leaving. Because I had this visa and it was like suspicious. And they didn't even like, when I did the checkout, they were like, why are you going? Like, what are you going to do there? And at that point, I didn't even have the flat there, because I didn't, it happened so fast that I didn't have like, literally, I had nothing. And I was just like, yeah, I'm looking for the universities there. I just like want to check it out. See, I have just one suitcase. I'll be back. I'm just like, I just want to check things out. And I have this visa because it was very easy to get. And
it's my birthday.
And it's my birthday, yeah. And they were like, yeah, sure. But when I came to this, like the one when they check your passport, like before you get into the zone with the planes, And there was a situation, like they took my passport, they scanned it, and something appeared, probably, because she, like the woman who was checking my passport, she just like looked at the screen that looked at my passport, that looked at me, and then she said, wait. And then she made this, like, she picked up her phone, came like closer to the door, and she's like, hello, and then she left. So I didn't know what's exactly is going on. She just like stopped me, like, wait. And I was like, okay, this is the moment. This is the moment when something bad happens.
God.
And then she came back with my passport, and she didn't explain anything. And she just gave me my passport and she said, leave.
She just said leave.
Yeah,
No explanation.
No explanation. She didn't say like, she just like, yeah, go. I didn't understand.
Do you think she knew?
I have no idea, because like, I don't know. Like,
That's very strange, yeah.
It could be something, but also at the same time, I don't understand that probably something else could appear there, and she was like, she wasn't sure what to do, and she just like checked with someone. And just because I don't have any explanation, I can't, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. It was just like very stressful, because, it also could be one of those situations when actually nothing bad was there, but just because that you are kind of having this flash drive with the film, that this producer is like, she was still in jail at that time. And I was like, it could be the moment that even like some random thing could appear, and if they decided to check me, it also could end up differently. So basically, I still don't know what was there, but she just like said leave. And I went to the zone, and I was pretty sure that she just at that point, I kind of decided that whatever happens, I just go the worst case scenario. So I was thinking, okay, she lets me go because there's still time till my plane, like 2 hours or maybe like less than 2 hours, but a lot of time. And she just wants me to be stuck. She just probably called the police, and she knows that it'll be harder for me to leave that zone. So I was with this huge flash drive, it wasn't even like this little one. It was like more like this, huge thing that you can't destroy easily.
And that had the film on it?
Yeah, it wasn't the film yet. It was just the materials.
Of course, you haven't had time to edit it, of course.
I mean, like, I could have just sit there. Yeah, I have 2 hours.
Nothing better to do?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I was just like, I was waiting for the police to come to arrest me for these 2 hours. And I was just like, again, my brain decided to do something super dramatic, absolutely unrealistic. And I was just like, I bought myself like a croissant or something, and I took this paper bag from this, and I put the flash drive there, and I was just like going near the toilets in case that I thought, okay, I spot something strange, and I'll go to the toilet, and then I put this bag inside, like this thing, and then I will be writing friends very dramatic letters from jail, like with the puzzle that they need to solve, how they find it. I was having fun there.
Yeah, you're getting very into it at this point.
Yeah, I was like in the movie, like for me, it was the movie. It was like something realistic. Yeah, but of course nothing happened. And I would probably not be able to hide this thing, but I thought that I could. And then the plane came, and I sat there, and I think when the plane was like already in the move, and I think like the moment when I knew that I'm like not in Belarus anymore, I think at that point I kind of understood that it's over. And I cried in the plane, because at that time I thought that I'm safe, because I didn't know that they can turn the plane and
around.
Yeah.
We've seen Argo, you know how it works. Once it takes off, you're safe.
But yeah, I came to Poland, and it was also very nice from their side, because as I mentioned, it was COVID times, and when they were like checking passports, they asked me all the questions they needed to ask. They needed my address, they needed basically all the information that I didn't have, and I was like, okay, this is the situation. Like, I left the country, super urgent. there is like a bad situation, you know, I explained this thing and I was like, I don't even have the apartment yet.
Mm.
And they just said, okay. They just let me in and they just said, okay, you can sit here, you can search for something, and then just give the address. And that's what I did. I just found an apartment for 10 days because I was supposed to be on quarantine. It was like a Belarusian woman who was like, who had the apartment, I don't know, in a very strange part of the town. And it was also my first time in Warsaw. So yeah.
And she just happened to be Belarusian as well.
Yeah, because I was like doing, like I searched through people I know, not in Poland, through Belarusians, because, you know, I connected to the Wi-Fi in the airport. And I was like writing people and I was like, do you know someone? And I think someone gave me her contact and they said that she probably have something. And I texted her and she was like, yeah, sure. And she was like super helpful. I explained the situation and she was like, yeah, no problem. You go to this address and I will buy you the SIM card, like the Polish one. And I will just like give you the SIM card and blah, blah, blah. So basically by the time that I came there, and she also said to me, like, you should buy the groceries before, because like this first day, they don't count it as the day of quarantine because you just came and you can just like buy everything and then you just go and for 10 days you will be locked in your apartment. And they also had the app that like checked where we are.
So you're now in an apartment in Warsaw. You're under quarantine for 10 days. Is that when you just had a massive editing binge, essentially?
I actually know. I didn't know what to do, to be honest, at this point, because I was like, I was in a denial. I didn't want to be in Poland. Like for my whole life, I was ignoring Poland as the country of choice. You know, it wasn't my choice, like at all. Like I didn't want to, because they have this system that if you have like relatives that have Polish documents, and my grandfather, it says in his birth certificate that he was Polish just because he was born in the territory of Poland that later became the territory of Belarus. So like technically he's a Belarusian because like, you know, he didn't even speak Polish, but just because this territory belonged to Poland at that period of time, I could apply for this Polish card. Like
okay.
all of my life, I could be, you know, I just had to make this Polish exam and I could just like move to Poland at any point of my life. And it's like a very, like, it's not the easiest process, but I mean, like, it's much more easy than to deal with like bureaucratic things when you just like don't have connection in any country. But I didn't do this because I didn't want to go to Poland. I was like, even if I move, I was thinking about Germany at some point, and I was living in Berlin for some time, and I knew the language, I had friends there, and I was like, yeah, I'm still not doing this Polish card thing. It would make it so much easier, you know, like the whole process, but I'm not going to Poland at any point. I'd rather do anything like super complicated things with this German system, but I'm not doing this thing. Yeah, so when
so it wasn't easy for you to say go to Poland and then jump across to Germany as it's part of the European Union, or are there restrictions?
So for example, if I go like right now, of course, like when I came to Poland and they said that I have option to ask for international protection and then I will have the documents based on this. I didn't want that because again, I said, okay, probably I need to play this Polish card now. Probably this, like now I don't have like a lot of options basically. So I need to choose, it's rather like international protection. That kind of sounds cool in theory.
Again, like a movie.
Yeah. But at the same time, I was like, okay, no, I don't want to be like, if I have another option, I'd better take the other option, you know, because again, it was 2020. I still didn't think that I had like the worst situation, you know, because like, yeah, it was like a dangerous thing, but again, it wasn't something like directly dangerous, you know, like this is how my brain goes, that I wasn't in the situation when I knew for sure that something bad will happen and I had to go through a forest or things like this. So I was like, okay. And I also thought that they have like limited things of this. I don't know why, but like in my head, I was like, okay, if I take this, then someone who's going through forest will not get it. This is how my brain works. And I was like, okay, no, I will like go the other way, and I still had this visa for a year, and I just like started the process of getting the Polish card. And why it is easier, because when you get this Polish card and you live in Poland and you pay taxes and doing like all the right things for the country, then you can apply for the permanent residency that they give it for you, like they give it to you for 10 years. And then after 1 year that you received this like permanent residency, you can apply for passport basically. So this is like a very easy process. You just have to be in Poland all this time. You have to live here, you have to do things, you know. This is exactly how my life turned out, you know, like I'm doing a lot of things in Poland.
Do you feel more, I guess, comfortable now that you're in Poland after these?
Yeah, I would say that this is also very strange how your like how your brain works, because I felt pretty safe straight after I came, you know, because like I still had this like a little PTSD kind of thing, because like I remember that I was running from the black van that stopped in the bus stop near me in Poland, and I was like running for my life in the other direction. I like randomly remembered that this is Warsaw and this is just the black van, you know, it's not like the car that will take me or something like this. And if something strange happens here, you know, because like sometimes strange things happens to Belarusian, even they are abroad, but just like you don't feel this danger that much. I don't know how to explain it. You kind of feel that you're just like a bit distance from all of the things. Yeah, and I mean, like when the war started, it was hard because I had friends in Ukraine, and I had friends that immigrated from Belarus to Ukraine, because, you know, you had basically in 2020 you had two choices, Poland or Ukraine. And for example, my friends, they chose Ukraine because it's easier. It's easier, like you can speak, like we understand Ukrainian to begin with, and there are also people who speak Russian there. You know, like sometimes they also chose at that point to speak like Ukrainian and Russian. And it wasn't that far away from Belarus, you know, like you still felt the connection. It was easier to adapt there. It was easier to do things there. And a lot of people just went there because they also liked Ukraine. And I left to Poland because I felt that, because I wanted to go to Germany at the time. And I actually tried to relocate myself for those 10 days. That's what I was trying to do. I was like calling like my friends in Germany. They found me a lawyer in Germany, and they were like, I was contacting this lawyer, and I was like, can I move? Because, you know, like for me, it was that in Berlin, at least I had like people I know. I had the apartments of these people that I can crash and just like feel safe. I knew the language of the country. And I was like, okay, can I go there? But they said like, no. Because I already like in the country that kind of gave me protection, and so I can't apply for the same thing in Berlin, because like you know, in Poland I already safe. I don't need this in Germany.
So what made you pick Poland over Ukraine then at the time?
I felt that I want to be like in European Union. I was thinking that actually, like my thought process was pretty easy. I was like, okay, if I need to leave, then I will leave to European Union, because then I can go further if I want to. And in Ukraine, I was like, okay, no, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It just like for me, it was very easy choice. I was like, okay, no, I'm going in the direction of Poland. So yeah, but my friends, they left to Ukraine, and then the war started. And then they had to like double immigrate basically. And then they came to Warsaw. And also the situation on the level of like when Russia basically attacked Ukraine, the Belarusian government, they were in the side of Russia basically. They were like loud about that. And the relationship also, like, I felt that there is a danger for Belarusians who have this, like, for example, international protection. I was like, okay, if now the Belarusian government will do something like stupid, for example, I don't know, started like will do the war as well with the Ukraine. So basically, all of these people will lose it, probably, because there were like some time here when the war just started that they like some of the banks, for example, they didn't want to make cards for Belarusians as well. Belarusians also faced problems because of that. But then it just like somehow, they kind of understood the situation, probably because the Poland knew the context. So it wasn't like there, maybe if we were, I don't know, in Germany, it was probably more complicated because they didn't have the full context and the full picture of what Belarus is. And that is not connected. And people who are on international protection since 2020, they do not support the war for sure, In Poland, it probably was a bit easier. So the situation kind of became normal for Belarusians, in this sense of visas and permits and blah, 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 pretty fast. But it just showed how easily it could change. Someone can take your feeling of home again very easy. So you safe and you never safe at the same time.
Yes, I remember you saying something similar in your film, that you're now essentially not afraid to leave, I guess, things like possessions even, or just like that feeling of ownership. Like you could, I'm sure, very quickly just up sticks and move to another country quite quickly if something was to happen very fast. Has that, I guess, is that sort of shared with many of your other friends who are now sort of living in Poland? Like there's this feeling of, I guess, impermanence to some degree?
But actually it's very funny because all of us have this, feels this very differently, because like one of my friends that moved like from Belarus to Ukraine and then from Ukraine here, she has the same kind of mindset that I do. She's just like, okay, I'm not bothered at all. I don't even I can leave everything. I can just like go like this and I'll be fine. But the other friend, she had like the whole drama of, should I buy the carpet thing for a year and a half? And she was like, and I was like, okay, you want this carpet, like you can just buy it. And she's like, no, what if what if the war starts here? Like, what should I do with this carpet? And it was like the whole drama. And I think 4 weeks ago, she finally said, okay, send me the link to this carpet. I'm ready to buy it. But it took her some time,
to feel right. Like, okay, I'm ready for the carpet.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? If because of your fucking carpet, the war starts in Poland right now.
Or maybe it will never start now that she has the carpet.
Maybe, yes, but it could go, like a different direction.
I think just look after the carpet. No ashes on that carpet. Keep it very, very clean.
So like some people just like now afraid to buy stuff because they were like, okay, what if I need to leave again? And some of us, they were like, no, I don't give shit. Like I bought this thing, I can buy this thing again in a country. So yeah, it's pretty different.
And is that, I guess, has that sort of fueled, because obviously you're still making films now and you're still making artworks and they're all to do with your experiences. Does that sort of help in some way to sort of ground you in some way and sort of keep you occupied and motivated to keep producing art?
Yeah, I mean, I think like after 2020, I got more politically engaged, and I think I became more I started doing political art all the time, because like before that, I was like working with the topic that could be described as political topics, but they were like not as obvious. Like I didn't put that much of a context in them. In one way, it's kind of helping me also to think about all of my traumas and like what I think on like basically anything. Like it gives me more empathy, I guess, because now I want to learn more about like other people and other cultures and other problems and other contexts. So I'm not that kind of locked in this like Eastern European hell. Now I'm trying to learn other stories as well, and I didn't do it before because I was like so kind of concentrated in like my problems, that I kind of forgot that a lot of people face a lot of problems as well. But also I think that what helps me is, again, when I started to talk about different people, like to talk to different people and learn their history, I kind of understood that we had a lot of in common. You know, like we had a lot of differences, sure, but there are also some things that unite us. Like it's actually very tragic that so many people have to face so many struggles and complications and pain, but at the same time, it kind of gives you the like, even when, I don't know, like riots in the US, like female riots, for example, in the US happening, you feel very connected and you feel very motivated because, like, okay, I'm with you, you know, and you feel like this can also motivate females, like women in Poland, to start like the protest. And it just like kind of unites you with other people because you kind of understand that when no one, like when someone is not safe, like when someone is not free, no one is free. Like, for example, in Syria, like it happened, and like this, like in my heart, it kind of resonated a lot. Like I was like watching all of these videos and I was like, okay, if it happened there, I mean, of course there are like still problems there, like there's no doubt that it's still complicated, but if it happened there, it could happen in other countries as well, you know? And like you shouldn't lose the hope of changing, that something actually can change, even if you think that there's nothing good will happen. And art also can help you with that, because like you kind of just give all your emotions, like you just like give everything that you have inside in your art, and it also help you to heal in a way. Not only doing art, but also watching other people doing something. And also sometimes we also try to support other artists. We just give you the platform for other people so they can do their art, and they can show and talk about their problems in their ways and tell their stories with their voices, basically. And we just like give the platform, but we do not try to capitalize it, you know, in a way.
No, and I guess it becomes a conversation of sorts. There's a sort of you're giving and receiving, as you say. I mean, have you found that? Do you feel that your outlook, I suppose, after sort of being in Poland and sort of experiencing this for so many years now, do you feel that your outlook is more optimistic than it was before, or has it sort of changed over that time?
I don't think so. I don't think that that I think now I'm more pessimistic actually than optimistic. Like when I think about the context of Belarus and like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm still very positive about Ukraine, to be honest. I still think that it is impossible that they lose this war. But I am pretty depressed and pretty sad about Belarus. Also because we have the election, like new election next year. And we're like, okay, what, like 4 years passed. And like, I'm thinking, okay, my life is improved. Like I think that it was like very traumatic, like the whole experience, but it was one of the best things that happened to me, you know, like that I left the country and that I somehow made it all into art, into this project, and it like created the community. I integrated in the new context, and I feel very comfortable and I can talk freely. But at the same time, when I look back, I was like, okay, but there are people in jails in Belarus. And we don't even know now how many people are in jail, like as political prisoners, because the media doesn't cover it anymore. And we don't have any independent media left in Belarus. So basically everyone that give you some kind of a news on this topic, they're also in Warsaw. So they don't have real you know, like the real picture of what's going on in the country. And also understand that there are people dying in jails. There are people like who are beaten in jails, and they all went there, like they basically in jails, and they went to jails probably with the hope that it won't take a long time for people to change something, you know. They were like probably thinking that, okay, I got caught, but it doesn't matter because like people out there, they will do something. And we didn't in the end. And now it's just like the fear that something even worse could happen, because I still, like I have a friend who came back to Belarus. And now with the
They went back from Poland.
Yeah. Which is also very interesting because she came to Poland and then she decided that she wants to go back and build her life there, because we all were in the situation, because like, you know, when you immigrate very fast, you don't have the time to kind of understand what happened, and you have the feeling that, okay, but I want to go home, you know, like, because you think about this place as home, and at some point you start romanticizing everything. Because like my life in Belarus wasn't that good, actually, you know. It was all right, and it's for sure easily when you live somewhere like in a new place and you have a thought, okay, if something goes wrong, I can go back. It's emotionally and mentally, it's easier to live a life knowing that you can go back and start from the beginning in the country that is yours. And when you don't have this, it's just like very, like you have this weight on your shoulders, you know, that nothing can go wrong because you don't have a plan B, basically. And she had like, okay, I still can go home, because she wasn't in the situation like I was. And now she says that it feels like another immigration, because she changed so much and she got used to things that actually very normal to any like to any person, but it wasn't like, you know, like for example, you can order things, you know, like you can order something from, I don't know, like Amazon, whatever, and it comes to your house. And in Belarus it's impossible because there are no delivery, you know. And like little things that you kind of feel that this is like very easy and, you know, just like a casual thing that you do every day, then you go back and you understand that it's not working in this country anymore. That you can't, and you can't leave this country, because if you don't have visa, she has to wait 1 year just to receive the SMS with the date and time when she came to go to embassy, because everything is so slow. This experience of hers, like, because I thought that something like this would probably happen to me if I go back, but she kind of confirmed this theory that there is no home anymore, at least for me. You know, like if you go back now, after all these years in another context, you will not feel home anymore. You will just feel immigrated another time, but this time you immigrated in your home country, which is weird.
Which is almost harder in a way, right? Because it's like, if you were in a different country, you've still got this idea that if you could go back, it would still be the same. But of course, if you do go back, that must be really hard.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, you know, I am afraid that I'm still afraid of this, because it's not that unrealistic, to be honest, that, you know, like one day we'll wake up and someone will say, you know, Belarus is not a country anymore. It's just like part of Russia or something. Because like in my brain, it would, like, if it happens, it would probably happen very smoothly. You know, it won't be like something like Ukraine. They will not come with the war. They will just probably sign the papers in the offices, and then they will just, and there were like also no people who will protest it. And I don't want people to protest it in Belarus, because I feel that it's too dangerous. There are not that many people left in the country. You know, so just like kind of like what should we do? Where's the exit of this?
No,
so, yeah,
I know it's very uncertain, the future, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, in the way, I think when I was in Belarus, especially I wasn't there in 2000 still, 2020, and it was like there were hope still, you know, because you had all these people on the street. You did all these projects together, and you knew that, yeah, it looks very bad, but at the same time you felt the power of people, because like, okay, we can keep going. Even if someone is detained, you're like, still, okay, we still can make it work. We can still change something. And now it doesn't feel this way, because you feel that everyone you knew left or in jail. And like all you can do is kind of still try to do something, like try to support, but at the same time you also can't do much, to be honest, when you're abroad. Basically, I think all the work of the people that are in another country, the main thing that we can do is just like to make the immigration for those who will need it later as comfortable as possible.
So there's a new Belarus they can go to outside of Belarus, let's say.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I'm thinking in this direction more than I think, okay, what can I do to change something inside the country? Because I just don't see what can I do.
Well, I suppose you've already sort of started to do that with the community of fellow artists. From the sounds of it, you've all sort of found each other.
Yeah, in a way. But also, like, I got because, like, there were some points in time when Belarusian kind of had these two camps, basically. One that were like stayed in Belarus, and they were like blaming people who left, and there were like people who left, and they were like, what other options did I have? And once I got asked in a very passive aggressive tone, in my opinion, how do I feel that I kind of build Belarusian culture outside Belarus? Like, if I feel okay with this. But honestly saying, everyone who you knew, like from Belarusians, like famous Belarusians painters or whatever, they all left Belarus. Like, the history of Belarusian culture is like the culture in immigration. Like, there are very few cases when people actually did something in Belarus and didn't get killed for that, or arrested or detained. So basically nothing changed. They were like exact the same thing that happened to people before us. People had to leave the country to actually do something. So maybe this is the national thing to make culture in immigration.
Tradition of Belarus.
Yeah, maybe this is the
culture
real
in exile.
Yeah.
I have to. I mean, I'm curious about you. So you're for those who don't know, you're a filmmaker who's very prolific, and you're a very prolific artist. And I find what's interesting with particularly Suitcase, looking at Suitcase, is that it's very technically, very well technically produced. It's very cinematic. It's very well composed, like purely from a technical point of view. But you seem to be someone who's from a very mixed media background in terms of art. Like, you're an artist in the sort of most purest sense, let's say, where it seems to be that you can sort of adapt to any medium. And what it is that kind of, I guess, fuels you, it seems to be, especially talking to you now, there's this very much inner passion, inner motivation that's always sort of driving you. So doesn't matter if it's a canvas or a camera, you're still sort of going to bring that vision to life. Was that always the case, like since you were a small child, or have you sort of have you always been very sort of technically, I guess, proficient, or has that sort of come very naturally to you?
No, I think it's came very naturally because, like, it took me some time to actually even call myself a director, like a filmmaker, because I also refer to myself as an artist, because I didn't feel that I'm doing a real filmmaker job there, because I'm more into visions, I'm more into like symbols in my films and how it looks like, rather than the narrative of the film. So at the beginning, it was more like even in intuition, like a gut feeling. What should I do? And with the with the years that I worked and produced and dealt with these things, I actually started to think about the technical part of it. And at the beginning, my films, I think, like, if you watch my films, maybe even now, it's like very theatrical in a way. Like, I see them more as a theater even than the movie.
Yes. So I'd agree with that. It's very much a sort of an ensemble a vision, as it were. So there doesn't even need to be a camera necessarily, although you do capture very well. It could work just as well on stage.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, I also think that I'm very happy, and like I was very lucky to find the team, because my team, they just understand what I want, and it's not very easy. For example, we've made a film in the forest, and then we shot the movie, and then I was sitting there like editing and color grading with the guy who was like doing this, and I was like, I don't like the color of the forest. And he was like, what the fuck do you mean? And I was like, it's not that green as it was in my head. And he was like, you do understand that you shot in the forest for, you know. And I was like, yeah, but you know, like in my head, it's not that green. You know, I need it to be another green.
And you show that you can pull back greens in post.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what we were doing. But you know, like just like because like, you know, I don't like the green like as the color, as a concept. And we shot it in the forest. And like the whole team knew that it will be problem again, because then I will see it and I will not like it because it's too green. And they like already kind of predicted that I will be just like sitting there changing the green until the green matched the green that it was in my head. So yeah, but
That's
like
the curse of an artist, I think.
sometimes I do not even work with the actors because not all of them seems so natural to me. So like a lot of my people just have random like friends of mine or DJs or like people I met on streets just because I see them. Like most of them like very confused because I was like, we don't know what to do. And I was like, it's okay. I just put you there and it will work. Just believe me.
Have you ever come across the Kuleshov effect? It sounds like you're basically doing this in real time.
No.
The Kuleshov effect was it's a famous term in filmmaking. So it's one of these things that you learn as a filmmaker, but it came about in the 1920s, I think, in Russia, the Soviet cinema, which is very, you know, ahead of its game. But it's basically a technique where if you film someone basically with a very deadpan face and then cut to a scene of kittens in a field or something tragic or whatever.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes, yes. Doesn't matter what the actor's doing. In fact,
Yeah.
less is more. As long as the context is there, you can make anyone look like a great actor. Is the
Yeah.
secret, which you've kind of just demonstrated.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be more interested in pursuing more scripted narratives, or are you more focused on still more focused on art or, you know, artistic projects?
I don't know. It's very hard for me. Like what I've noticed that I do, like what I will try to change with a new film. We're already working on a new one, and what I'm trying to change is that I want to give less context because I feel that now, yeah, like the image is very kind of not about what's going on at all. Like it doesn't give you this like heavy context, but the words, you know, like I put a lot of words for people to understand what's going on, like the stories and the context. Like in most of my films, you can feel it, like it's very direct. And with this one, I will try to go more, maybe I will do it without the sound at all, like with this the sound but without the words, because I want to do it like more symbolic in a way, you know, just like try to put even more feelings and less context, so you can like you feel something is wrong, you can feel the main idea, you can feel probably what it is about if they can feel it with the symbols that I show, rather than just like to hear what I wanted to say.
Do you are there any sort of films that I guess resonate with you, or have sort of demonstrated that a similar sort of feel, sort of showing not telling, let's say, if we want to put it like that?
That's a good question. Probably, but I can't think of any. But I think like now I'm thinking more about like this art videos that you can see at the galleries rather than the films that you can see in the cinemas, you know? So probably like more in the direction, because like now I can do both. Like my films could be in the film festivals and they can also be shown in the galleries, because they have like this both, you know, like they kind of like Hannah Montana, that's of both worlds.
I never put that connection together, but I guess that works.
Yeah, I'm like now I want to think more in the direction of galleries, you know, like this random shit that you see in the gallery, have no idea what it is about, and like everyone is like, what the fuck was that? And then they were like, oh, okay. Then they read this like huge curatorial text, and they're like, oh, yes.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my goal. So like you can't understand it without the text, just the emotion.
Those are always the best works. Do you think you'll you have to try and send some works to Australia?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we have the connection to Australia because to begin with, the producer of the project, she really wants to go to Australia. So every time she tries to find something to get us there.
So what's I guess what's in the future for you? Do you plan to stay in Poland and continue making artworks there, or are you sort of thinking of branching more into the EU?
I don't think that Poland is my soulmate. It's like, if I can put this way, you know, like it's a very stable, very nice relationship, but it's not a soulmate. So I will probably go somewhere else in it. But I mean, I will still have this as an important place in my heart forever. And maybe this will be my destination, you know, like the place where I can go back if something will not work. But I just don't think that I will be here forever. Or at least I believe that I will move at some point to explore something and maybe then go back. I don't know. But yeah, I'm actually thinking about different directions. But what I can say for sure is that like my project now is a foundation. So basically, it's not just the project now. We're like cooler than that. And I think that this country will stay as the main kind of office of this foundation. Like I really hope that we will open the gallery here and we can do what I think sometimes is needed. Because like if I'm thinking about the gallery, if I'm thinking about the space, I would really love to make a space for artists that do not do commercial art. So basically that they don't have to worry that they need to do a piece that will sell, you know, that it won't be this important. So like to make sure that the gallery functions on like some other funds that is not dependent on the collectors that will buy the pieces from the exhibition, to show more risky art, to show more art that does not fit in the institutions. So
or could be hanged on walls.
Yeah. So we're really thinking about this, and I think that the gallery for sure will be in Poland.
So can you tell me about your group, because your group is called Revolution, is that right?
Yep.
It's a collective. So
yeah.
was that formed before you came to Belarus, or was that before you came to Poland, or?
No, it's actually I founded it when I was already in Warsaw, because as I said, in Belarus I just wanted to make one film. But then when all the situation happened, and then this producer, she was released from the jail, and she left before they started to make it like a criminal case, which is also like we still don't know what exactly happened there, you know, because she left the country. She went like from Belarus to Russia, because it was still before the war, from Belarus to Russia, from Russia to Ukraine, and from Ukraine to Poland. That was like her way. But yeah, she came here and we talked, and we also made sure that the people who worked on the film are safe. Like, so, because I think by that time, 6 months passed or something like this, and we wanted to wait. So we know that if we release the film, no one will get in trouble because of that. So we waited, and then we decided that, okay, we can actually do more films. We can do like the whole project. And then I kind of came up with this idea to call it Art Project Revolution, because this is how it started. And at the beginning we were making films, but then I decided that we can also do exhibitions and workshops. So basically we can do a platform for people that also like immigrants that have a lot of pain inside themselves, and they want to kind of do something with this pain, like do art or like participate in something artistic. So just like to put all of these emotions that they have inside somewhere. So basically now we work as a foundation, and also like the art group, which has 5 female artists in it, including myself.
Fantastic. And does that give you, I guess, a sort of an extra sense of autonomy now that you're a collective? You can sort of support each other, and you're sort of stronger as a unit, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, of course, when I like started the project, I was like, it sounds good if it works the way I see it, and now it's working the way I see it, because yeah, you know that it's just easier to do things, you know, because like we have responsible people doing their part of the project because we have different initiatives. So for example, we have the producer of the project, the one that wants to go to Australia, because like she's doing grants, she's doing like fundraising, she makes sure that we do all of this paperwork correctly and things like this. We also have art managers, so people can help us to communicate with artists to be sure that they will send their works, their answers in time. We also have me, the one who just like creates concept and hope that people will help me to do them all. But we also have like Fem Book Club. It is basically like a meetings when we promote female writers, basically. And we created this space because we wanted to, again, for the immigrants that kind of learned Polish, but they are not sure if they can speak it, to be able to practice this in the same space, in the safe space. So there are like Polish people, there are like immigrants, and we all discuss books. And we do like this meetings with female writers and discuss their books all in Polish, because it's very complicated to start speaking the language, you know, especially like if you're older and this is like a new country and you just like have all of this borders, like, you know, in your head that you can't speak a proper language, you have this like awful accent and people will understand that you're an immigrant, you know, like all of these things. And also like, okay, I want to be funny in this language as well, you know, because I'm so cool in my native language. And you have like all of these thoughts and it's just like impossible. Even if you're super good in grammar, no course will help you to feel free, you know, like when you talk, especially when you talk on topics that you like art or literature or whatever. So that's why we created Fem Book Club. And we also have Monologue of One Female Artist. And this is like a short video where we show different female artists, again, that works with this like risky topics like political art, feminism, body, especially female body. And we just give them platform, like the fair female representation in media, basically, because the media doesn't do a very good job in that. And they ask all the wrong questions and highlights not the things that most of the female artists want to highlight, you know. So we kind of created this platform because we want to change this narrative in the media. And we do films. So just because we have all of these things, and we also like participate in big events like Warsaw Gallery Weekends, we do like big exhibitions. And of course, it's easier when you're a collective, because as I said, you can't do everything alone. So it's very nice that you have people that actually can help you with that.
And empowering, so that you don't feel so isolated, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you the feeling that you actually built something in a new country. You kind of created the community, but also what I like about it, it's just like it's a very mixed, you know, it's not that we created a Belarusian community, which I don't feel like. I never wanted to, like, even when I was living in Berlin, I didn't even have people there who are like from Belarus, Russia, or Ukraine, because I was like so focused on finding people like Germans, for example, because I wanted to integrate, you know, I wanted to learn their culture. I wanted to kind of feel comfortable in the country. And it's impossible if you just like close yourself in the community. I mean, like, I do understand why people do this. I do understand, it's like, it's very logical. But just like for me, it wasn't the option. I found that it's much easier to accept your new life if you hang out with people from the country that, you know, that you chose, basically, or didn't choose, but just came. And this is how I try to make revolution. So basically we have this core team that has like Belarusians and Ukrainians, but at the same time, with every film, we try to invite different people. So like Polish people or like people from different countries that lives in Poland. One of the film that we created, it was about the feeling of home. I wanted to show a different perspective, you know, like how different people with different experience see this topic. So like I wrote it as an immigrant from Belarus, but also like the main actor, he was like from Lithuania, and he chose to come to Poland. Like he wanted to go to Poland and he feels Poland as his home. So I wanted his perspective as well. We also have like a makeup artist from Poland, and she's living in Poland and she likes living in Poland and she feels that Poland is her home. We had this Australian guy who was like born and raised in Australia, but he was thinking, okay, maybe I should move somewhere. And I was like, okay, what is your perspective of home? Like, you know, write the music that kind of combines these emotions. More people can connect to the topic, even if they don't have this experience. They kind of can at least think about it. You know, the same with the Suitcase. You don't have to be this like refugee that had only one suitcase to start thinking, what would I put in my suitcase if I had to leave?
I really like that with Suitcase, because what you start to realize when your film is showing other people discussing what they were trying to fit in their suitcase at the very last minute, and the random collection of items that you sort of would think aren't necessary but definitely are, like you're saying, you know, wearing the corset when you think I might get arrested tomorrow, but it is my birthday and I want to look nice. You've got someone who's saying like, I want to, you know, should I pack the makeup in my bag or should I not? But I do want to look nice even if I'm on the road. Or there was one character actually who seemed to, they packed a massive book by Stephen Fry, and it was like taking up most of it. Oh, was that you?
I just found that Fry.
Oh, that's really because my sister used to do that when we were very little. When we used to go on family holiday, she did the exact same thing. She had a big book, Oscar Wilde stories, with a foreword by Stephen Fry, because that was oh, that's very funny. But it's completely irrational. But what else are you going to read?
I mean, exactly. I mean, like, I needed this kind of like British humor kind of type in my suitcase, you know, like, because like actually this is like the thing that I regret here, that I couldn't took all of my books with me, because now I have to create like the whole new collection of it. But yeah, it was important, like the books. I wanted to take like this candle holder with me, but it didn't fit in the suitcase. And I remember that I wasn't, you know, like I wasn't crying because I had to leave, because I didn't kind of understood it at that point, but I was crying because it didn't fit in the suitcase, because it was important for me to take it. And my dad, he saw it and he was like, you will probably end up in jail. You know, there is a chance you will not need this candle holder in jail. And he was like, you don't know. Have you been to jail? No. Do you know what I need there? No.
Got no idea how hard it is.
Yeah. So yeah, like I didn't have it because, yeah, again, it didn't fit, but my parents sent it to me a month later.
Sorry, so your parents sent you the candle holder just because that's what you wanted to have with you?
Yes.
I never would have expected a candle holder. That's, yeah, definitely a necessity.
But it's very beautiful. It's extremely beautiful. You know, like I can even show you so you understand the beauty of it.
Is it heavy?
Extremely heavy.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah,
and caked in wax.
Kill someone with this candle holder. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's a self-defense. Just keep it in your jacket.
Exactly. That's exactly why my dad didn't want me to have it, probably, with me. Because
so like, I've just noticed. Is that a hammock? Is that a hammock hanging in your room?
Yeah, it is.
Is that where you sleep?
No, but I chill here.
You what there? Sorry.
Chill, you know, just like.
Oh, you chill there. Oh, I see. Okay, right.
Sometimes read Stephen Fry.
I have to ask, as we sort of round up, what do your parents think of what you're doing?
My mom supports me. She's like a big supporter, and actually, when everything just started, when I left the country, I was 24. So basically, I kind of put my youth into this thing. I know it sounds extremely dramatic, but I mean, like, in a way, it's supposed to be the best life, the best time of my life, you know, like the best years, golden years. And I remember that when I was like doing all this protest and all of these things, she came to me and she's like, I am very sorry that you are doing this because we were supposed to do it. Like we were the generation of people that had to deal with this, not you. And all of this, like young people had to put their lives behind and, choose the fight instead of like, like having fun or like build their future and things like this, especially because like a lot of young people were arrested and a lot of young people lives were destroyed in a lot of ways. So I felt it's very powerful, like from her to say this to me. And like now whatever because like, every time when I do something, I was like asking them, because they were still in Belarus, and I was like I don't want to do even more trouble, and they were like, no, you do you think, like you don't even think about this, like do whatever feels right to you. My dad, he's more kind of rational. He's like he kind of, he loves me on a deeper level. But I think that he questions basically everything I do. Like absolutely, like every decision. I think like sometimes he doesn't want to ask what I'm up to. Like he's just like, don't tell me. Just, like just tell me how you're doing. Like tell me if you eat well. But just like don't tell me what you're doing. Like,
just tell me where to send the candlestick holder.
Yeah.
And I won't ask any questions.
Because like, in his life, like basically like his understanding of life is, he doesn't understand why he should put himself in danger, for example, to do something like this, because like as long as he can live his life and it doesn't like he has a job, he can buy, like he can go to grocery to buy food, he can enjoy TV, like this simple little life. And like there is no war in the country technically. So basically he doesn't understand why you should put yourself in danger to change it, like when it's not about you directly, when you were like thinking about people who are like working in the factories in the bad conditions. He was like, what the fuck, like it's not even your problem, they don't want to do this, like they are afraid to do this, why you should do this for them. When I was already in Poland and he was asked and regretted immediately what I was working on. I was like, I'm working on the film about women and it will be criticizing the abortion law in Poland. And he was like, are you planning to have troubles in every country you go, or you will stop at some point? Like, are you planning to just, live a life, And I was like, no, because like if I see the problem and it's kind of about me and I feel that I can talk about this and I can change it, maybe, like why should I say, I haven't been to a protest in in some time, it's time to start something again. So because the problem is that once you engage in a political art or like something like this, it's just hard not to do it anymore. Even if you kind of left the country, you just find a new ways how to work with this, because like you can't close your eyes, you saw too much.
Of course, but there are things worth talking about, I suppose, is kind of the point as well. It's not that you're looking for issues, it's just there seem to be a lot of issues around.
Exactly. Not a problem.
Yeah, you're not the problem.
No. I can't this, like from this podcast, and I will send it to my dad, and I was like, see, it's not me, it's life.
Will your parents, is it difficult for them to come to Poland to
I haven't seen them in 4 years.
Yeah, that would be very hard.
It is very hard, because we were actually, I can say very proudly that I'm that type of person that didn't have traumatic childhood. I had a very, very happy one. I was very, very connected to my parents, and I am very connected to my parents. So we have a great relationship, and it was like extreme, because like probably there were and still are my feeling of home, because I felt and I feel that I kind of let Belarus go. I don't think about it. I don't think that I will go there and live there. So I kind of just, of course I will, even if I don't know, like have another passport, for example, like a Polish one, I will still say that I'm a Belarusian, because nothing will change the fact, because all my identity is built on the experience of being a Belarusian. It's just like it won't go away, but just like this feeling that I need to go back, I want to live there, it just gone, and I don't think that it will come back ever. I think the only thing that is kind of holding me to that place is my parents, because this is my parents' place and they are there, and this is like the only thing. And I really hope that someday they will come to visit me. I really hope that this day will come soon. But it is tricky, yeah, because they need to have a visa to do that. And also then they have to be in this like border control for like a lot of hours. It is tricky and it is complicated, but I hope that it will change, probably.
Who knows what will happen? A lot's changed already. So who knows?
Yeah.
It may change quickly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you one last thing. If I think in what you're basically doing, I think you've sort of, it's unusual talking to you, because I think a lot of many filmmakers, I think, make art just for fun. Let's say, like, they make films for fun and enjoyment, and you do have that sort of passion and that drive. But I think your story is interesting because your passion has also come with a lot of risk. I think it's fair to say if you weren't making these artworks and you weren't making these films, you'd have a more comfortable, trouble-free life.
For sure.
To put it mildly. So I guess what is it, do you think, what is it that sort of drives you, and what is it that sort of makes you want to keep going, that sort of motivates you to keep producing these works, making these works, collaborating, chasing these visions that only make sense to you? And it's something which feels right to you, but it's sort of hard to articulate or rationalize why necessarily.
Well, I would really love to say something very smart and very motivated here, but to be honest, at some point it was just too late to stop. In Belarus, we like to say "gari sarai, gari hata," and it means like, if there is like a fire in some part of the house, let's just burn the whole house. And this was exactly.
That's that's a very Slavic.
That's very Eastern European.
Yes,
right?
That's very Eastern European. Yes.
So this is exactly what happened. I was like, because I was like much more kind of. I thought I gave much more thought before I did something at the very beginning. Like when I did one video, which wasn't even that risky, but I spent like 2 days even like thinking if I should upload it, like if I should post it, because I was like, okay, if this work worth the jail time, like this was my question. And then in the end I posted it, of course, but still, like I thought more about the consequences of my actions. And now I'm just like, just do it. Let's just do it, Let's see, like, if something happens, we will talk about it later. We will think about it later, like.
Kick around the ashes.
Exactly. Because, like, at some point you feel that, but also probably just because I see how much trouble you can get from making art. And this is going, like, and it also kind of, trouble in a way that the government that is not even that into culture kind of feels on a deeper level that this could change something in the society, that this is dangerous. I think this is also what makes me feel the power of it. Like, even if the people who are not actually connected to the culture and don't think about the culture feel that this could be a danger, that this could change and influence people's minds, even like some arty kind of, not even like a documentary when they like say, like fact and what happened, like, I do understand why they target journalists, you know, like with the like give the statistics, facts, blah blah blah. I don't understand that. But when they like target artists, I feel like it says a lot. So I think this was also the one of the reasons why I thought that it's worth to continue this, because yeah, art has its power.
Because if
And
they're
why
trying
not
to
too?
stop you from saying something, it must be something worth saying, I suppose.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, I also, it's also very Eastern European things. Like when I feel that someone tells me no, you know, like we will not show it and we will not put it on the screen because it's too risky, I feel like I need to prove that it's worth showing. And I'm just like finding new ways and direction how more people can see it. This is also why, like, I'm not very focused. Like, I really like to work with big institutions. I like when my works are shown in big institutions, you know, because it it just like it always very nice when you kind of see yourself like approved, like your art is approved by cool curators and blah blah blah. But at the same time, I feel that it's much more important to show your things in a little towns or like very random locations, because or like even alternative spaces, like, you know, like in the bars or cafes, whatever, just because then more people that maybe not supposed to see it will see it. Like, for example, the people that don't even know what Belarus is, and then they see it, and that could actually make some change. And this is what I
Mm.
like about art, that sometimes it shouldn't be exclusive, you know. Art is not for VIP, you know, people. It's not, it shouldn't be just for sale, I don't know, or like for just like to make you in a way like a prestige kind of person or whatever. It's more to show it to more people because it has the power.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's universal appeal. If you're in a cafe in Argentina, you'll get it. You'll understand. Or a theater in Dungog, like your film was shown in the middle of a rural town in northern New South Wales, and it connected with people strongly. And there weren't many Belarusians in the audience, I'll be honest, or many Poles, or many even many Europeans. So yeah, it has resonance.
Yeah, great. That's great.
Well, Dasha, thank you so much for joining me this evening and or morning for you.
Good morning. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for telling your story and yeah, giving us a bit more of an insight into your background. And yeah, really excited to see what you come up with next.
Thank you.
So, Dasha, where can people find your group's work?
So we have a YouTube. It's called Art Project Revolution. It's very easy to find. And there you can see almost all the films that we did. Some of them now are not there because they are waiting for their time to be presented in cool institutions. So we can't show them. But yeah, the majority of the films and the film that was shown on that festival in Australia, it can be found on our YouTube channel. And we also have Instagram. We don't have a lot of followers yet, but we believe that we can have. So if you want to follow us, please do. It's also Art Project Revolution.
Fantastic. And I have to ask, that film that you were making when you left Belarus for the first time and came to Poland, what was that film called, and can people find it online?
Yes, it is on our YouTube channel. It's the first one, and it's called 0908. And this is the day of the elections in Belarus in 2020.
Fantastic. Great. Well, everyone go check out Dasha's films online. Hopefully they'll be coming up on Dingo shortly. But yeah, Dasha, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.